Welcome, dear friends, to a soft journey through the vast and magical world of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, where stories of extraordinary heroes and complex villains unfold in the quiet corners of galaxies far and near. What began as a simple tale of a man in a suit of armor has blossomed into a rich, interconnected world filled with gods, warriors, and beings whose powers stretch beyond imagination. Tonight, we will drift through the lore of this universe, from the earliest days of Iron Man to the endless battles against dark forces that have shaped the very fabric of time and space. As we journey through the stories of mighty heroes like Captain America, Spider Man, Black Panther, and the Avengers, let us settle into the calm rhythms of their journeys, their triumphs, and their struggles. This is not a story of haste, but one that unfolds slowly, like a dream in the quiet hours of the night. Let the magic of the MCU softly unfold around you as you relax, breathe, and drift into a peaceful slumber. Take a deep breath, releasing any tension in your body, letting the weight of the day slowly fade away. Allow yourself to sink into the gentle embrace of rest, knowing that the world of the MCU will be here, waiting to guide you into a realm of peace. And if you enjoy drifting through stories like this, you're welcome to subscribe and softly tell me where you're listening from tonight. Now, let us begin our journey into the heart of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It all began with a single man, a genius, a billionaire, a playboy, a philanthropist. In 2000, Iron Man arrived on the big screen, ushering in a new era of superhero films. The world was introduced to Tony Stark, a man who had it all: wealth, intellect, and charm, but lacked something more profound, something that would change him forever. As the film progressed, Tony's journey was not just one of adventure, but of self discovery. He created a suit of armor that would become the symbol of not just a hero, but an entire universe. The creation of Iron Man was, in many ways, a perfect storm. It came at a time when audiences were eager for a different kind of superhero story, one that grounded the fantastical in the real world. Robert Downey Jr.'s portrayal of Tony Stark brought a warmth and wit to the character, making him instantly lovable. Stark's transformation from a self-absorbed arms dealer to a hero willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good was the heart of the film. But it was also the beginning of something larger, something that would grow beyond its own limits. What followed Iron Man was not just a string of sequels or individual superhero films. It was the beginning of a grand experiment, the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With the post-credit scene of Iron Man, audiences were given a tantalizing glimpse of what was to come. Samuel L. Jackson appeared as Nick Fury, inviting Tony Stark into a world of heroes and threats far beyond what he could imagine. This moment, seemingly small at the time, was the spark that ignited the MCU, leading to a world in which these heroes would come together. The first Avengers film, however, was a leap of faith. Could Marvel truly pull off a team-up of such magnitude? With so many heroes, each with their own story, their own world, could they blend them together into something greater? The answer came in 2012. The Avengers was more than just a movie. It was the realization of a dream, a chance for fans to see the likes of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, and Black Widow join forces to face a common enemy. The chemistry between these characters was instant, and the stakes were higher than ever before. This film was not just a victory for the characters, but for the MCU as a whole. The birth of the MCU was not just the story of a few films, it was the beginning of a world built on interconnected stories and characters bound together by the threads of fate and destiny. The early days of the MCU set the stage for what was to come, a universe of infinite possibilities where anything could happen and where the very concept of what a superhero film could be was redefined. It all began with Iron Man, and it has been unfolding ever since. The idea of a team of superheroes joining forces was a concept rarely seen in cinema before the MCU. But with the release of The Avengers in 2012, Marvel Studios brought together its growing roster of beloved characters into a single film, marking the culmination of everything that had come before. It was an ambitious, almost impossible task to balance the personalities and powers of Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, Hulk, Black Widow, and Hawkeye, and to make it all work seamlessly. But it was a gamble that paid off. From the very first scene, the Avengers set the tone for a new kind of superhero movie, one where the stakes were as high as the characters were varied. Each hero brought something unique to the team, and the film knew just how to play with those differences. Tony Stark's irreverence and humor clashed with Steve Rogers' stoic and righteous demeanor, while the god of thunder, Thor, carried an air of nobility that contrasted with Bruce Banner's inner turmoil. And yet, despite their differences, they were all united by one common cause: to stop Loki, the adopted brother of Thor, from conquering Earth with an alien army. The chemistry between the Avengers was undeniable, and it's what made the film so special. Each character had their moment to shine, yet there was a harmony between them all, as if they were pieces of a larger puzzle, each contributing to the whole. Captain America's leadership, Black Widow's resourcefulness, Thor's might, and Hulk's raw power all played into the success of the mission. Yet it was Stark's witty one-liners, Banner's unassuming intelligence, and Hawkeye's precision that brought everything together. But more than just the action, the Avengers laid the groundwork for something even greater: the concept of a shared universe. With the introduction of Sach Eldis and Nick Fury's leadership, it was clear that this team-up was not a one-off. The Avengers represented a future where individual stories could intertwine, creating a greater whole, and from this moment, the MCU would only continue to grow, with every new film contributing to the ever-expanding narrative. In hindsight, the success of the Avengers was not just about what it accomplished in the moment. It was about what it meant for the future of the MCU. The idea of superheroes working together, of world building across multiple films, was an innovation that would shape the future of cinema. It was the first real sign that the MCU was more than just a series of films. It was a universe in its own right, with its own laws, rules, and connections. From here, the path forward was clear. The Avengers had assembled, and the world of the MCU was never going to be the same. In the vast expanse of the universe, there are few beings as formidable or as feared as Thanos, the Mad Titan. His name is synonymous with power, ambition, and destruction, an eternal force of nature whose path was destined to bring about a universe-altering event. Thanos' rise in the MCU began in earnest with his brief appearance in The Avengers 2012, when he was revealed as the mastermind behind Loki's invasion of Earth. At that moment, the mere mention of his name struck fear into the hearts of heroes and audiences alike, and yet his true story was only just beginning. Thanos, born on the planet Titan, was a character of complex motives and deep sorrow. He was not merely a villain bent on destruction for its own sake, but a being driven by an overwhelming belief in balance, though his idea of balance was brutal and extreme. His obsession with the Infinity Stones, six powerful relics capable of bending the very fabric of reality, became his singular purpose. Each stone held unimaginable power, and in the hands of someone as determined as Thanos, they could reshape the entire universe. For Thanos, this quest was not just about ruling, it was about salvation, albeit through destruction. As the MCU progressed, Thanos' looming presence grew, his plans unfolding slowly over several films. Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 marked a significant chapter in his rise, introducing audiences to his obsession with the Infinity Stones and his ruthless pursuit of them. It was revealed that he had already manipulated and controlled several characters, such as Ronan the Accuser and Gamora, using his ruthless tactics to gain what he wanted. His search for the stones was no longer a secret, and with each passing film, the weight of his plans seemed to grow heavier. In Avengers Age of Ultron 2015, Thanos made his most significant move yet, sending the villainous Ultron to Earth, knowing that his ultimate goal was near. The pieces were in place. The Avengers had come together, yet their unity was still fragile. Thanos, in his calculated silence, watched and waited. He knew that the moment would come when the heroes would be tested beyond anything they had experienced. And with that knowledge, he began collecting the final Infinity Stones, one by one, beginning with the Power Stone, which he took from the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy. By the time Avengers Infinity War 2018 arrived, Thanos' plan had come to fruition. He had collected all the Infinity Stones, and with them, he set in motion the greatest and most terrifying event the universe had ever seen. With the snap of his fingers, Thanos wiped out half of all life in the universe, causing chaos, grief, and a deep sense of loss among the heroes. The snap, as it came to be known, was not just a plot device, it was a philosophical statement, a reflection of Thanos' twisted view of the universe's needs. For him, the act of destruction was an act of mercy. It was the only way to bring about true balance in his eyes. Thanos' rise is a tale of ambition and sacrifice, a journey that would not only change the course of the MCU, but would also redefine the very nature of villainy. He was not merely an adversary to be defeated, he was a force of nature, a villain with convictions whose actions would leave a permanent mark on the universe he sought to reshape. The Mad Titan's story continues to resonate as one of the MCU's most profound and unforgettable arcs, a reminder that sometimes the greatest enemies are not the ones we can see, but the ones whose beliefs we cannot easily dismiss. Long before the rise of Thanos, the universe was shaped by forces far older and more powerful than any mortal could comprehend. At the core of these powers lay the six Infinity Stones, ancient relics that possessed abilities capable of warping the very fabric of space and time. Each stone had a unique power, and together they held the potential to reshape reality itself. The origins of these stones remain a mystery, but their influence on the MCU is undeniable. Throughout the years, they have played pivotal roles in the stories of many heroes and villains, leaving behind a legacy that echoes throughout the galaxy. The Space Stone, once contained within the Tesseract, was the first to appear in the MCU. It granted its wielder the ability to manipulate space, bending it to their will. With it, one could teleport across vast distances, even to the farthest reaches of the universe. For the longest time, it was hidden away, guarded by powerful forces, until it was eventually discovered by SHIELD, setting off a chain of events that would change the course of history. It was a symbol of untapped potential, a key to unlocking the impossible. Next came the Mind Stone, housed within the scepter that Loki wielded in the Avengers 2012. This stone had the power to control minds, to bend the wills of others, and shape their thoughts. It was a tool of manipulation and control, one that had been used by Thanos to influence Loki's invasion of Earth. But its true significance would not be fully realized until later, when it became a crucial part of the creation of Vision. The Mind Stone was the heart of the android's consciousness, giving him both life and purpose. In a way, the Mind Stone was more than just a weapon. It was a symbol of creation, the spark of intelligence in a world filled with chaos. The Reality Stone, or the Ether, was a fluid and unpredictable force, capable of altering reality itself. In the hands of its wielder, it could warp the very nature of existence, transforming one world into another in an instant. It was a force of pure chaos, one that could turn dreams into nightmares and reshape entire universes. The Ether's journey took it from the hands of the Dark Elves in Thor, the Dark World, some 2013, to the depths of the Collector's Lair in Guardians of the Galaxy 2014, before it was ultimately claimed by Thanos in his quest to complete the Infinity Gauntlet. Then there was the Power Stone, the most destructive of all. Housed within the orb, it was a stone capable of unleashing unimaginable force. It could destroy entire planets with a single blow, reducing them to rubble. It was a symbol of unchecked power, one that no one could control for long without devastating consequences. The Guardians of the Galaxy first encountered the Power Stone, and their struggle to keep it safe from the hands of Ronan the Accuser marked one of the early battles in the war for the Infinity Stones. The Time Stone, hidden within the eye of Agamotto, granted its wielder control over time itself. With it, one could rewind or fast forward through the timeline of reality, changing the past, present, and future. It was a stone that came with both immense responsibility and terrifying consequences. Doctor Strange's discovery of the Time Stone marked his transformation from a mere sorcerer to the Sorcerer Supreme. It was through this stone that he was able to protect the universe from the dark forces that sought to use time as a weapon. Finally, there was the Soul Stone, the most elusive of all. Hidden on the distant planet of Vormir, it required a sacrifice, an exchange of life for the power contained within it. The Soul Stone was a reminder that even the greatest powers in the universe came with a cost. It was only through the sacrifice of Gamora, Thanos' adopted daughter, that the Mad Titan was able to claim it, completing the Infinity Gauntlet and setting the stage for his ultimate plan. The Infinity Stones were not just powerful artifacts, they were the threads that connected the entire MCU. They represented the forces of creation, destruction, and manipulation, and their journey through the hands of heroes and villains alike shaped the fate of the universe. Together, they held the potential to create or destroy worlds, to rewrite reality itself. In the hands of Thanos, they became instruments of unimaginable power, but their true legacy was in the balance they brought to the universe, proof that even in the darkest of times, there is always a hope for change. Loki, the god of mischief, is one of the MCU's most complex and beloved characters, a figure whose journey is filled with twists, turns, and moments of deep introspection. His path from villain to anti hero is one of the most captivating transformations in the entire MCU. Born to the frost giant Laufey, Loki was adopted by Odin and raised alongside Thor, the god of thunder. From the very beginning, he struggled with his identity, torn between the warmth of his adopted family and the cold truth of his true heritage. It was this internal conflict that made Loki both a compelling villain and a tragic figure. In Thor 2011, Loki's journey began with a simple desire for acceptance. He was the younger brother, always in Thor's shadow, and yet he possessed powers and a wit that made him unique. But his sense of inadequacy led him down a dark path. Discovering the truth about his origins was the catalyst for his eventual betrayal of Asgard. He sought the throne, believing that he could rule in a way that Odin never had. His actions were driven by a need to prove his worth, not just to his father, but to himself. His descent into villainy was not merely about power, but about the search for identity, purpose, and belonging. In the Avengers 2012, Loki's thirst for power culminated in his attempt to conquer Earth. Under the influence of Thanos, he wielded the scepter and led an army to invade the planet. Loki's role as a villain was defined by his sharp intellect, his cunning ability to manipulate others, and his ability to twist truth into deception. But beneath the facade of the god of mischief, there was a vulnerability. Loki's desire for recognition and his jealousy of Thor's position weighed heavily on him, and it was this internal struggle that made him so unpredictable yet relatable. Yet Loki's story didn't end in the Avengers. His transformation continued to unfold in the films that followed. In Thor, The Dark World, since 2013, he once again found himself at odds with his family, but this time he was forced to work with Thor to save their world from the Dark Elves. His reluctant partnership with Thor showcased a new side of Loki, one that was not entirely consumed by ambition, but one that could still recognize the importance of family. It was here that Loki's relationship with his brother began to evolve, showing moments of camaraderie and even understanding. In Thor Ragnarok 2017, Loki's journey reached a new chapter. Forced to face his own shortcomings and the consequences of his actions, he was no longer the villainous trickster who sought to dominate and deceive. While still mischievous, he had begun to show signs of growth. He fought alongside Thor to liberate Asgard from the tyranny of Hela, and in doing so, he proved that redemption, though hard-won, was not impossible. Loki had learned that power and control were not the only paths to fulfillment, and while his mischievous nature never left him, he had found a new purpose. But perhaps Loki's most transformative moment came in the Loki Disney Plus series, where the god of mischief was forced to confront his own destiny, his role in the multiverse, and the consequences of his actions throughout time. The series allowed for a deeper exploration of Loki's character, showing that beneath the tricks and manipulation, there was a being capable of change, growth, and even self-sacrifice. It was here that Loki fully embraced his true nature, realizing that being himself, imperfections and all, was the key to his own redemption. Loki's journey is a reminder that even the most mischievous of beings can find their way to self-discovery. His path from villainy to heroism is not one of pure goodness, but one of complex emotions, self realization, and the recognition that change is always possible, even for those who have strayed far from their original paths. The god of mischief, in the end, is more than just a trickster. He is a figure who embodies the complexity of the human condition, a being torn between his past and his future, struggling to find his place in a universe far larger than himself. Bucky Barnes, once the best friend and trusted sidekick of Steve Rogers, is one of the most tragic and complex figures in the MCU. His journey from loyal soldier to brainwashed assassin, and ultimately to a man struggling to reclaim his identity, is a story of loss, redemption, and the resilience of the human spirit. The Winter Soldier arc is one of the most emotionally charged in the MCU, and it touches on themes of memory, control, and the haunting consequences of war. Bucky's story begins in the early days of World War II, where he fought alongside Steve Rogers as part of the Howling Commandos. The bond between the two was unbreakable, a friendship that carried them through countless battles. But when Bucky fell off a train during a mission in Captain America, the First Avenger, 2011, Steve was forced to believe that his friend had died, leaving him with a deep sense of loss. But Bucky's fate was far more complicated. In Captain America, The Winter Soldier, 2014, it was revealed that Bucky had been taken by Hydra, brainwashed, and turned into the Winter Soldier, an unstoppable assassin who had been carrying out covert missions for decades. The transformation of Bucky Barnes into the Winter Soldier was not just physical, but emotional. His memories were wiped, his humanity stripped away, leaving behind a cold, merciless killer. For years, he was forced to commit unspeakable acts, unaware of his true identity. The emotional weight of his lost memories weighed heavily on him, and it wasn't until he crossed paths with Steve Rogers again that he began to rediscover who he truly was. In The Winter Soldier, the emotional tension between the two friends is palpable. Steve's desire to save Bucky from the control of Hydra is one of the central themes of the film. It is not just a battle of strength, but a battle for Bucky's soul. As the film unfolds, Bucky is slowly revealed to be more than just an agent of Hydra. His struggle is not against Steve or the Avengers, but against the mental chains that have bound him for so long. The film's emotional climax, where Steve refuses to fight his friend and instead tries to reach the man he once knew, is one of the most powerful moments in the MCU. It is a testament to the bond between the two characters, a bond that cannot be broken even by the horrors of war and the manipulation of Hydra. In Captain America, Civil War, 2016, Bucky's struggle to reclaim his identity is central to the film's conflict. As the world grapples with the consequences of the Avengers' actions, Bucky becomes a symbol of the larger issues at play: the cost of war, the loss of freedom, and the desire for justice. Steve and Tony Stark find themselves on opposite sides, torn by their personal beliefs and their loyalty to their respective ideals. But at the heart of this conflict is Bucky, a man who, despite his past, is fighting for a future where he can be free of the chains that have bound him for so long. Bucky's journey continues in Avengers, Infinity War 2018, and Avengers Endgame to 2019, where he fights alongside the Avengers to save the universe from Thanos. In these films, Bucky begins to regain a sense of purpose and place within the larger world of the MCU, but his journey is far from over. As the dust settles from the Battle of Wakanda, Bucky's future remains uncertain, and his path to redemption continues to unfold in subtle ways. The Winter Soldier's story is one of reconciliation, not just with others, but with himself. His struggle to reclaim his humanity and identity is one of the most poignant in the MCU, a reminder that even the darkest pasts can be overcome, and even the most broken souls can find redemption. Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, is a testament to the strength of friendship, the power of memory, and the possibility of healing, even in the face of overwhelming darkness. In the vastness of the MCU, Guardians of the Galaxy 2014 stands as a vibrant, irreverent, and heartfelt exploration of what it means to be a hero. Unlike many of the other Avengers, the Guardians began as a group of misfits, each with their own troubled pasts and broken spirits. Yet together, they would form a team that would prove that even the most unlikely individuals can come together to protect something greater than themselves. At the heart of the Guardians is Peter Quill, also known as Star-Lord, a human who was abducted from Earth as a child and raised by space pirates known as the Ravagers. His love for the music of the 1970s, his sense of humor, and his often reckless, self-centered nature make him one of the most unique characters in the MCU. But beneath his tough exterior lies a man who is still searching for belonging, someone who longs for connection. This emotional depth is what makes Star-Lord's journey so engaging, as he gradually learns to move beyond his selfishness for the sake of his newfound family. Then there's Gamora, the deadliest woman in the galaxy, who was adopted and raised by Thanos. Her life has been one of pain, having been molded into an assassin by the very being who destroyed her home. Yet despite her upbringing, Gamora's journey is one of redemption. She battles the trauma of her past, determined to be more than the weapon that Thanos made her into. Her fierce loyalty and protective nature make her a cornerstone of the Guardians, even as she grapples with the tension between her past and her desire for a better future. Rocket, the genetically modified raccoon, is another deeply complex character. Though he presents himself as brash and cynical, Rocket's inner turmoil stems from the trauma of his creation and the loss of his sense of humanity. He is, in many ways, a character who struggles with self-worth. Rocket hides behind humor and sarcasm, but his journey is about learning to accept love and friendship, to find value in himself beyond the bitterness and pain that have defined his existence. The towering figure of Groot, Rocket's loyal companion, offers a contrast to the rest of the team. Though Groot can only say the words, "I am Groot," his actions speak volumes. Groot's innocence, compassion, and unwavering loyalty are central to the Guardian's dynamic. His evolution from a simple sapling to a towering protector reminds us of the purity of selflessness, as well as the potential for growth and change, even for a being as ancient as him. And then there's Drax the Destroyer, whose sole mission in life is vengeance for the death of his family at the hands of Ronan the Accuser. Drax's character is marked by a singular focus, yet beneath his rage lies a depth of grief and sorrow. His comedic misunderstandings and straightforward nature add a layer of humor to the team, but they also underscore his journey from vengeance to healing. Drax's arc is about learning to let go of his anger and finding a new purpose in life beyond revenge. What makes the Guardians of the Galaxy so compelling is not just their individual arcs, but the way their differences come together to form a cohesive team. Each member of the Guardians brings something unique to the table, yet it is through their shared experiences that they learn the true meaning of family. Despite their flaws, their brokenness, and their past mistakes, they come to understand that they are stronger together than they could ever be apart. Through their adventures, they discover that heroism is not defined by perfection, but by the willingness to fight for others, even when it means risking everything. The Guardians' first film, with its irreverent humor, retro soundtrack, and emotional core, set the tone for a new kind of superhero team. The film wasn't just about saving the galaxy, it was about finding purpose and connection in the most unlikely of places. The Guardians, though flawed and imperfect, became an embodiment of the idea that anyone, no matter their background or their mistakes, can become a hero. The arrival of Black Panther 2018 marked a defining moment not only in the MCU, but in the cultural landscape as a whole. At its core, Black Panther tells the story of T'Challa, the newly crowned king of Wakanda, a hidden, technologically advanced African nation rich in the precious metal vibranium. But beneath the spectacle of Wakanda's grandeur lies a much deeper story, one of legacy, responsibility, and the weight of leadership. The film is not just about the rise of a king, but about the evolution of T'Challa as he grapples with the loss of his father, the complexity of his heritage, and the growing need for global responsibility. T'Challa's journey to the throne begins with tragedy. His father, King T'Chaka, is killed in Captain America Civil War 2016, leaving T'Challa to assume the mantle of king. This sudden responsibility, coupled with the unresolved tensions between Wakanda and the rest of the world, forces T'Challa to confront difficult questions about what kind of king he wants to be. Should he continue his father's isolationist policies, or should he open Wakanda's doors to the world, using its vast resources for global good? In Black Panther, this internal struggle is brought to the forefront as T'Challa faces off against his cousin, Eric Killmonger. Killmonger, who was abandoned in America as a child after his father was killed by T'Chaka, returns to Wakanda with a vengeance. His view is radical. He believes that Wakanda should use its wealth and power to help oppressed people around the world, especially those of African descent. His philosophy challenges T'Challa's sense of duty, forcing him to question not only his father's decisions, but his own beliefs about justice and responsibility. Killmonger, portrayed with fierce intensity by Michael B. Jordan, is a villain unlike any other in the MCU. His motivations are deeply personal, rooted in pain, loss, and a desire for justice. His belief that Wakanda must share its resources with the world, particularly with disenfranchised African communities, is both powerful and dangerous. Yet in his desire for revenge, Killmonger becomes consumed by bitterness, unable to see the nuanced balance between helping others and maintaining peace. His conflict with T'Challa is not just a battle for the throne, but a battle for the soul of Wakanda and its place in the world. The themes explored in Black Panther, identity, responsibility, legacy, and the impact of history, are universal, but they resonate particularly strongly in the context of African heritage and the African diaspora. The film's exploration of Wakanda, a nation that has remained untouched by colonization and technological progress, offers a powerful metaphor for the idea of reclaiming power and identity. Wakanda's role as a hidden nation mirrors the ways in which history has silenced and erased the contributions of African cultures, and T'Challa's eventual decision to open Wakanda to the world represents a bold step toward healing and reconciliation. Yet T'Challa's journey is not just about political decisions, it's about personal growth. Through his battles, both internal and external, T'Challa learns that leadership is not about power, but about service. He learns that his role as king is not to hold on to tradition for tradition's sake, but to forge a path forward that honors both his ancestors and the future. By the end of the film, T'Challa is not just a king, he is a global leader, ready to change the course of history and share Wakanda's knowledge and resources for the betterment of all. Black Panther became a cultural milestone, not only for its exploration of African identity and heritage, but for its impact on representation in film. It brought to the forefront characters and stories that had been underrepresented in mainstream cinema, allowing audiences to see themselves reflected in the grand narratives of superhero cinema. Beyond the action and spectacle, Black Panther is a meditation on leadership, legacy, and the importance of community. The story of the Vision and Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch, is one of the most emotionally poignant and complex narratives in the MCU. Their journey, marked by tragedy, love, and immense power, unfolds against the backdrop of a universe constantly at war. From their first meeting in Avengers Age of Ultron 2015 to the immense heartbreak and loss experienced in Avengers Infinity War 2018, their love story is woven with threads of both personal struggle and cosmic conflict. What makes their relationship stand out is not just the powerful chemistry between the characters, but the way in which their shared experiences reflect deeper themes of grief, destiny, and the search for belonging. Wanda, introduced as a powerful yet conflicted hero, begins her journey with a tragic past. She was raised in Sokovia, where her family was destroyed in the crossfire of the war between Hydra and the Avengers. Her powers, which stem from the Mind Stone, are vast and dangerous. But Wanda's true strength lies not just in her ability to manipulate reality, but in her emotional depth. Her journey through grief and loss is one of the central themes of the MCU, and it is through her relationship with Vision that we see her learn to cope with the weight of her powers and her past. The Vision, created by Ultron and born from the fusion of JARVIS, Tony Stark's artificial intelligence, and the Mind Stone, is an embodiment of what it means to be both human and machine. As an android with the capacity for emotion, Vision's story is deeply philosophical. He grapples with questions of identity, purpose, and what it means to be truly alive. His relationship with Wanda begins as a quiet, understated connection based on mutual respect and an understanding of each other's pain. Vision sees Wanda not only as a powerful being, but as someone who, like him, is searching for a place in a world that doesn't always understand them. As their relationship deepens, so too does their understanding of each other's struggles. For Wanda, Vision becomes a source of comfort and strength, a stabilizing force amid the chaos that surrounds her. For Vision, Wanda is the key to his humanity, showing him the complexities of love, sacrifice, and emotional vulnerability. Together, they form an unlikely yet unbreakable bond, one that proves to be a source of both strength and tragedy in the larger MCU narrative. The most heartbreaking chapter in their story occurs in Avengers Infinity War 2018, where Wanda is forced to make an impossible choice. Thanos, in his quest to collect all the Infinity Stones, targets the Mind Stone, which resides in Vision's forehead. Wanda, with her immense power, is the only one who can destroy the stone before Thanos can claim it. But doing so would mean sacrificing the one person she has come to love deeply. In an agonizing moment, Wanda does destroy the stone, only for Thanos to reverse time and take it from Vision's body, killing him in the process. The pain of losing Vision is unbearable for Wanda, and it is in Avengers Endgame 2019 that we see the true cost of this loss. Wanda's grief is palpable, and it drives much of her actions in the final battle against Thanos. Her sorrow fuels her strength, and her connection to Vision remains the emotional core of her journey. Even after his death, the love between them transcends time and space, as seen in Wanda's creation of a false reality in WandaVision 2021, where she recreates a world in which Vision is alive and they live their lives together. WandaVision takes the audience through a deeply personal and reflective exploration of Wanda's trauma and grief. As Wanda grapples with the loss of her beloved, she is forced to confront the destructive nature of her powers and the realities of her grief. The series is a beautiful exploration of love, loss, and healing, and it shows the complexities of Wanda's character, as well as the depth of her relationship with Vision. It's through this journey that Wanda truly begins to understand her full potential as the Scarlet Witch, and she must come to terms with the consequences of her actions. The relationship between Wanda and Vision, though defined by heartache, is also one of profound love and sacrifice. Their story is a reminder that true love transcends the physical realm, and that even in the face of loss, the memories of those we love can never be taken away. The emotional weight of their journey is one of the most powerful and enduring aspects of the MCU, showing that even in the midst of chaos, there can be love, and through love, there is strength. The arrival of Spider-Man in the MCU marked a pivotal moment in the evolution of the cinematic universe. Introduced in Captain America: Civil War 2016, Peter Parker, portrayed by Tom Holland, brought a youthful energy and a new perspective to the Avengers world. Peter's introduction was not just the appearance of a new hero, it was the beginning of a new chapter in the MCU. For fans, seeing Spider-Man, one of the most beloved and iconic superheroes, finally join the Avengers ranks was an exciting moment, made even more special by the seamless way Marvel integrated him into the ongoing narrative. But beyond the excitement of his introduction was the deeper story of Peter Parker, a young man struggling to balance his life as a high school student with his role as a superhero, something that many young people could relate to. Peter Parker, at his core, is a character defined by his relatability. Unlike many of the other MCU heroes who were already established with immense power, wealth, or experience, Peter was still learning the ropes of being a superhero. His story was one of growth, not only in terms of his physical abilities, but also in his understanding of responsibility. With great power comes great responsibility is a maxim that has been associated with Spider-Man for generations, and it is a theme that resonated strongly within the MCU. Peter, despite his extraordinary abilities, was still just a kid, trying to navigate the complexities of life while dealing with the overwhelming demands of being a hero. In his early appearances, Peter's youthfulness was both a source of strength and vulnerability. He was eager to prove himself to the Avengers, particularly to Tony Stark, whom he idolized. But his eagerness often led to mistakes, especially in Spider Man Homecoming 2017, where Peter, despite his desire to prove he could handle the responsibilities of being a superhero, found himself tangled in a series of events that were far beyond his control. The film explored the duality of Peter's life as a regular teenager and as a superhero, highlighting the struggle to maintain a sense of normalcy while grappling with the dangers of his powers. For Peter, the stakes were always personal. His actions had consequences not just for him, but for those he cared about. The relationship between Peter and Tony Stark was central to his journey. Tony, ever the mentor, took Peter under his wing and gave him the iconic suit that helped him take on bigger challenges. However, this mentorship came with its own set of complications. In Avengers Infinity War 2018, when Peter joined the fight against Thanos, the reality of being a hero became painfully clear. In the heat of battle, Peter's youthful desire to prove himself was tested, and he faced the greatest challenge of his life: survival. The emotional weight of losing Tony Stark, the man who had been both a mentor and a father figure to him, was something Peter struggled with deeply in Avengers Endgame 2019. The death of Iron Man left an indelible mark on Peter, who had to come to terms with the loss of someone who had believed in him and had helped him grow into the hero he was becoming. Spider Man Far From Home 2019 was Peter's first solo film after the events of Endgame, and it marked a new stage in his journey. The film was not only about dealing with the loss of Tony Stark, but it was also about Peter taking on more responsibility. With Tony gone, Peter was thrust into the position of leader, even though he was still uncertain about his place in the world. His encounters with Mysterio, a villain who manipulated Peter's grief and emotions, showcased his vulnerability and his struggles with stepping into the role of a leader. For Peter, the weight of being a hero was not just about physical strength. It was about the emotional burden of carrying the legacy of those who came before him and ensuring that his actions would be true to what they stood for. One of the most significant themes in Peter's story is his sense of guilt and responsibility. Despite his powers, Peter never truly feels ready for the challenges he faces. Even when he succeeds, there is a lingering sense of doubt, as though he is never quite enough. This feeling is exacerbated by the constant comparison to Tony Stark, who was an established hero and a symbol of what Peter could potentially become. Tony's death in Endgame created a vacuum in Peter's life, and his journey forward was defined by the need to both honor Tony's legacy and forge his own path. The film's exploration of grief, loss, and moving forward after tragedy added layers to Peter's character that went beyond the typical superhero narrative. So, what makes Spider Man such a compelling figure in the MCU is his relatability. While other heroes like Captain America or Iron Man have larger than life personas and are defined by their powers or wealth, Peter is grounded in a reality that audiences can connect with. He is a teenager who still struggles with homework, friendships, and trying to fit in, all while carrying the immense burden of being a hero. His life as Spider Man forces him to make sacrifices, often at the expense of his personal life. His relationships with his friends, MJ, Ned, and Aunt May, are central to his journey, and the film explores how his role as Spider Man impacts those around him. These relationships add an emotional depth to the character, showing that even the strongest of heroes have vulnerabilities and face challenges beyond their physical battles. The development of Peter Parker in the MCU is a story of growth. He begins as a young, eager hero, excited to be part of something larger, but he matures through the events of the Infinity Saga. He learns the value of mentorship, the price of heroism, and the importance of making difficult choices. Peter's journey in the MCU is one of discovery, not just of his powers, but of who he is and what kind of hero he wants to become. By the end of Spider Man No Way Home 2021, Peter has been forced to make a decision that will forever change his life to protect those he loves by letting go of his personal desires and accepting the responsibility that comes with being Spider Man. Through Peter Parker, the MCU has reminded us that heroism is not just about defeating villains or saving the world. It is about sacrifice, love, and the courage to face one's fears, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Spider Man's journey, full of ups and downs, triumphs and defeats, is a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. His story is a reflection of the struggles and joys that come with growing up, and it is a journey that continues to resonate with audiences, no matter their age. Dr. Stephen Strange, the Sorcerer Supreme, stands as one of the most uniquely profound characters in the MCU. His story is one of transformation, not just of the body, but of the soul. Before becoming the mystical hero we know today, Dr. Strange was a renowned neurosurgeon, celebrated for his brilliance and unparalleled skill. But in a moment of tragedy, his life would be forever altered. An accident, leaving his hands crippled beyond repair, set him on a path of spiritual awakening and a search for a way to heal himself, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. His journey from arrogance and pride to humility and selflessness is at the heart of Doctor Strange 2016, and it's this transformation that would make him a key player in the Avengers' battle against dark forces, not just in the material world, but in the mystical realms as well. In the early days of his journey, Doctor Strange's arrogance is on full display. At the height of his career, he is dismissive of anything that doesn't fit within the realm of hard science and rationality. His world is built around logic, precision, and control. The accident that leaves his hands permanently damaged represents a shattering of that world, forcing him to confront the limits of his own abilities. His initial response to this devastating blow is to seek out the best medical treatment available, traveling the world in search of a cure. But none of the treatments work, and it is this sense of failure that drives him to the Ancient One, the powerful sorcerer who will ultimately teach him the ways of magic and the mystic arts. The moment Strange steps into the Ancient One's sanctum is the beginning of his awakening. The journey that follows is one of profound discovery. Under the Ancient One's guidance, Strange learns that the universe is far more complex than he ever imagined. Magic, time, space, and the very fabric of reality itself are malleable forces that exist beyond the understanding of traditional science. Strange, though reluctant at first, begins to embrace the mystical arts, not as a means to heal his hands, but as a means to understand the deeper nature of existence. It is here that Strange begins to shed the prideful arrogance that once defined him and slowly evolves into a hero, not of flesh and bone, but of mind and spirit. One of the key turning points in Doctor Strange is his realization that the power he wields is not just a tool for personal gain or to heal his own body, it is a responsibility. Strange's transformation mirrors the journey of many MCU heroes, but his path is different. While characters like Iron Man and Captain America are shaped by their relationships with the world around them, Doctor Strange is shaped by his relationship with the universe itself. His powers allow him to access alternate dimensions, manipulate time, and even alter the very fabric of reality, making him a figure of immense power. However, it is through humility, understanding, and the acceptance of a higher purpose that Strange truly steps into his role as the Sorcerer Supreme. Strange's journey reaches its peak in his battle against the villainous Caecilius and the dark dimension that threatens to consume all of reality. The climactic moment of Doctor Strange isn't a battle of brute strength, but a battle of intellect and will. Rather than defeating Caecilius through physical combat, Strange uses his newly acquired knowledge of time and space to outmaneuver his opponent. The final confrontation with Dormammu, where Strange traps the dark entity in an endless time loop, is a testament to his growth. Instead of relying on traditional methods of war, Strange uses his intellect, his understanding of the mystic arts, and his willingness to sacrifice himself to save the universe. Doctor Strange's arc, though filled with magical battles and epic journeys, is ultimately about selflessness. In Avengers, in Infinity War 2018, his role in the battle against Thanos shows how far he has come. As the keeper of the Time Stone, Strange holds one of the most powerful artifacts in the universe, capable of controlling time itself. Yet, in a pivotal moment, Strange makes the decision to give up the stone to save Tony Stark, despite knowing that doing so might result in the downfall of the universe. This moment of self sacrifice marks a profound evolution in Strange's character. He no longer views the universe as something to control, but as something to protect, even at the cost of his own life. Strange's role in Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers, Endgame 2019, underscores his importance, not just as a sorcerer, but as a strategic thinker who can see possibilities that others cannot. His decision to give Thanos the Time Stone, after viewing over 14 million potential futures, was not just an act of sacrifice, but one of deep understanding. He saw that the path to victory required a level of trust in fate and the willingness to make difficult choices for the greater good. It is through this realization that Doctor Strange's character becomes a cornerstone of the MCU's narrative, a reminder that sometimes the true power of a hero lies not in their strength or their mastery of magic, but in their willingness to protect others, even at the expense of their own desires. As we move forward into Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 2022, Strange's journey continues to evolve. The exploration of the multiverse opens new avenues of potential, showing that even the most powerful sorcerers must face the consequences of their actions across countless realities. Strange's growth as a character is marked by his continued willingness to face the unknown, to confront his own flaws, and to embrace the challenges that come with wielding such immense power. Doctor Strange's character arc serves as a meditation on the balance between power and responsibility, wisdom and humility, and the nature of personal sacrifice. From a skilled surgeon driven by ego To a sorcerer who understands the vastness of the universe, Strange's journey is one of transformation. His path is not just about mastering magic, but about mastering himself, understanding the deep interconnectedness of all things, and using that knowledge to protect the world from forces beyond comprehension. His role in the MCU is more than that of a mystical hero. He is a guide, a protector, and a constant reminder that the greatest power lies not in what we control, but in how we choose to wield it. In the sprawling universe of the MCU, where titans clash and worlds tremble, one hero stands apart, not by his size, but by his heart and ingenuity. Ant-Man, introduced in Ant-Man 2015, is perhaps the most unlikely hero to join the ranks of the Avengers. His powers aren't derived from alien technology or the mystic arts. Rather, they stem from a remarkable suit designed by Hank Pym, a brilliant scientist who first discovered the technology to alter the size of objects and living beings. What makes Scott Lang, the second Ant-Man, so unique is that he's not just a man who shrinks to the size of an insect. He is a hero who finds strength, not in the conventional sense, but in his creativity, courage, and the bonds he forms with those around him. Scott Lang, a former thief who is trying to rebuild his life after serving time in prison, is a character defined by his flaws and his desire to do better. When we first meet Scott, he is a man struggling to find a purpose beyond his past mistakes. He is a loving father to his young daughter, Cassie, but his criminal history makes it difficult for him to provide for her in the way he wants. His desperation to do right by his daughter is what ultimately drives him to steal the Ant-Man suit, a decision that leads to his transformation from a small-time crook into a hero of great potential. What makes Scott's journey particularly compelling is his relatability. Unlike other heroes in the MCU, Scott doesn't possess superhuman abilities or vast wealth. He isn't a genius inventor like Tony Stark, nor is he a god or a super soldier. Scott is an ordinary man who is given extraordinary abilities, and his story is one of embracing those powers and using them for good. His journey is not about learning to be a better fighter or gaining physical strength. It is about learning to trust in himself, to believe in his potential, and to rise above his past. The first Ant-Man film is not just an origin story, but a tale of redemption. Scott's transformation into Ant-Man is both a literal and figurative journey. When he dons the suit for the first time, he is thrust into a world of high-tech espionage and danger, facing off against the villainous Darren Cross, who has developed a more dangerous version of the shrinking technology. Cross, once Hank Pym's protege, seeks to weaponize the technology for personal gain, and it is up to Scott to stop him. However, the true heart of the film lies not in the action, but in Scott's relationships with Hank Pym, with his daughter, and with himself. The dynamic between Scott and Hank is particularly significant. Hank is reluctant to pass on the mantle of Ant-Man, seeing it as a dangerous and burdened legacy, but Scott proves himself worthy through his resourcefulness and his genuine desire to help. The theme of family is central to Ant-Man. Scott's primary motivation throughout the film is to provide a better life for Cassie, and this emotional anchor is what drives him to take on the responsibility of being a hero. The film also introduces the concept of teamwork, as Scott works alongside Hank Pym, his daughter Hope Van Dyne, who eventually becomes the Wasp, and a group of colorful characters, including Luis, his loyal and humorous friend. While the stakes may not seem as high as some of the other MCU films, Ant-Man is rich in character development and emotional depth. Scott may be fighting to stop a villain, but he is also fighting for a future where he can be a better father, a better man, and a better hero. Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, continues Scott's journey, expanding on his relationship with Hope Van Dyne, who becomes an essential ally in the fight against the villainous Ghost, a woman with the ability to phase through objects. The sequel deepens Scott's understanding of the quantum realm, the mysterious dimension that plays a key role in the MCU's overarching narrative. The film explores themes of redemption, trust, and sacrifice as Scott and Hope work together to rescue Janet Van Dyne, Hope's mother, and the original Wasp from the quantum realm. The emotional core of the film lies in Scott's growth as a father and a hero. He is no longer just fighting for himself, but for his loved ones and for the future. His relationship with Hope also evolves from that of a mentor-mentee to an equal partnership, highlighting the importance of collaboration and mutual respect. One of the most significant moments in Ant-Man and the Wasp comes when Scott is forced to make a choice between spending time with his daughter and aiding Hank and Hope in their quest to rescue Janet. This internal struggle reflects Scott's growth as a character. In the first film, he would have chosen personal gain or his own freedom, but in this sequel, he understands that true heroism involves sacrifice and prioritizing the well being of others. His actions throughout the film highlight his evolution into a selfless hero, one who is driven by love and responsibility rather than by a desire for fame or glory. The Ant-Man films also provide a unique perspective within the MCU, offering a more grounded, yet still exciting narrative compared to some of the larger, more explosive superhero stories. Scott's powers may not seem as world altering as those of characters like Thor or Doctor Strange, but his small scale heroism is no less significant. In fact, it is through his ingenuity, quick thinking, and determination that he proves himself to be a valuable member of the Avengers in Avengers Endgame 2019. After the events of Infinity War, Scott emerges from the quantum realm and presents the idea of using time travel to undo the damage caused by Thanos. This pivotal idea leads to the Avengers' plan to gather the Infinity Stones from different points in time, culminating in the ultimate battle to restore the universe. Scott's role in this plan shows that even the smallest heroes can play a massive part in saving the world. Through the character of Scott Lang, Ant-Man explores the themes of redemption, family, and the power of small acts of heroism. His journey from a man seeking redemption for his past mistakes to a hero who helps save the universe is one of the most uplifting arcs in the MCU. Scott's relatability, humor, and unwavering loyalty make him a beloved character, proving that heroism isn't about size or strength. It's about heart, courage, and the willingness to fight for those we love. Thor, the god of thunder, is a character whose journey in the MCU is one of the most profound transformations, both physically and emotionally. When he first arrives in Thor 2011, directed by Kenneth Branagh, he is a brash, arrogant god, heir to the throne of Asgard, and a warrior who believes in his own invincibility. His early portrayal was of a character who saw himself as above the petty concerns of mortals, a god destined to rule. His first solo film showcases Thor's growth from a reckless warrior to a thoughtful leader, ultimately learning that true power comes from humility, sacrifice, and understanding the needs of others. Thor's origin story begins in Asgard, a realm of unimaginable beauty and grandeur. As the son of Odin, the Allfather, Thor is destined to inherit the throne of Asgard and lead the Asgardian people into an age of greatness. However, Thor's impulsive nature often gets the better of him. When he goes against his father's wishes and leads an attack on the peaceful realm of Jotunheim, he is stripped of his powers and banished to Earth as a consequence. On Earth, Thor must learn the value of humility and responsibility. It is during his exile that Thor begins to understand that strength is not just about physical might, but about character, wisdom, and compassion. In his first encounter with the people of Earth, Thor is initially unaware of the world around him. His arrival in New Mexico is marked by his thunderous entrance, and his initial interactions with the humans are marked by confusion and awe. However, as he grows to understand Earth's people, he learns to value their struggles and their resilience. Thor's bond with Dr. Jane Foster, an astrophysicist who discovers the phenomenon of his arrival, further develops his understanding of what it means to care for others. Through his time on Earth, Thor's character is tempered, and he becomes less of a god who demands respect and more of a hero who earns it. The events of Thor 2011 culminate in Thor's decision to sacrifice himself for the good of others. After Loki, his adopted brother, causes chaos in Asgard, Thor realizes that his role as a leader isn't about the throne or the power he wields, but about his ability to protect and serve others. This lesson is what allows him to reclaim his powers, and by the end of the film, Thor returns to Asgard not as a conquering hero, but as a wiser and more humble god, ready to take his place as a leader who can serve his people rather than rule over them. In the Avengers 2012, Thor's role within the team is crucial as he joins forces with Iron Man, Captain America, and the Hulk to stop Loki's invasion of Earth. Thor's relationship with his brother Loki is one of deep complexity. Loki, who was raised alongside Thor in Asgard, but is revealed to be a frost giant, harbors a deep resentment towards Thor and his role as the future king. Thor's journey with Loki is one of sorrow, frustration, and ultimately understanding. Thor's attempts to reach out to Loki and change his path showcase the depth of his character, as he seeks not only to defeat his brother, but to heal the fractured bond between them. Thor, The Dark World, 2013, deepens the emotional complexity of Thor's character. In this film, Thor faces the dark elf Malekith, who seeks to use the ether, the reality stone, to plunge the universe into darkness. Thor's journey in this film is marked by his grief over the death of his mother, Frigga. Her loss is a catalyst for his transformation, as Thor realizes that his identity is not just defined by his role as the god of thunder, but by his love for those he has lost and his duty to protect those who remain. The film also explores the relationship between Thor and Loki further, as Loki, despite being imprisoned for his crimes, ultimately aids Thor in saving Asgard. Their relationship is one of constant tension, but also one of deep, unspoken affection and familial bond. Thor, Ragnarok 2017, directed by Taika Waititi, represents a major turning point in Thor's journey. The film takes a much lighter, more humorous approach to Thor's character, moving away from the gravitas of the previous films and embracing a more comedic tone. This shift allows Thor's character to evolve even further. In Ragnarok, Thor is stripped of his hammer, Mjolnir, and forced to confront the destruction of Asgard at the hands of Hela, the goddess of death. Thor's loss of his hammer is symbolic, as it forces him to rely on his inner strength rather than on the external power of the hammer. Throughout the film, Thor learns that his true power does not come from Mjolnir, but from within himself. The film's tone, while lighthearted, still carries emotional weight, particularly in Thor's struggle to accept the loss of his home and his family. Thor's evolution in Ragnarok is one of empowerment and self realization. He learns to embrace who he is, both as a god and as an individual. His bond with the Hulk, Bruce Banner, also deepens as the two form an unlikely alliance to stop Hela's reign of terror. The film concludes with the destruction of Asgard, but Thor's newfound perspective on life allows him to see that Asgard is not a place, it is a people. Thor takes on the mantle of King of Asgard in Avengers Endgame 2019, where his role as a leader is cemented in the final battle against Thanos. In Avengers Infinity War 2018, Thor plays a crucial role in the battle against Thanos, whose quest for the Infinity Stones threatens to destroy the universe. After the fall of Asgard and the loss of his brother Loki, Thor is driven by grief and rage. His mission to stop Thanos is deeply personal, and he takes on a new weapon, Stormbreaker, a new axe forged in the heart of a dying star. Thor's pursuit of vengeance against Thanos leads him to make a crucial mistake, however, and he fails to stop Thanos before the snap, which wipes out half of all life in the universe. Avengers Endgame, 2019, marks the culmination of Thor's journey. In the aftermath of the snap, Thor is deeply affected by his failure to stop Thanos. His guilt and depression manifest in unexpected ways, and his appearance and demeanor take a drastic turn. Despite his physical transformation, Thor's inner strength is still intact. Throughout the course of Endgame, Thor's journey is one of healing and redemption. He learns that heroism is not defined by success or failure, but by the willingness to keep fighting, even when the odds seem insurmountable. Thor's final battle against Thanos is not just a fight for the universe, but a fight for his own redemption, and his victory is a testament to his growth as both a warrior and a leader. The journey of Thor in the MCU is one of profound transformation. From a brash, arrogant prince to a wise, compassionate king, Thor's path is one of self-discovery, loss, and redemption. His character arc explores the themes of identity, responsibility, and the nature of leadership. Thor's story reminds us that even the gods must grapple with their own humanity, and that true strength comes not from physical might, but from the ability to rise above adversity and lead with wisdom and heart. The quantum realm, introduced in Ant-Man 2015 and explored further in Avengers Endgame 2019, is one of the most mysterious and intriguing elements of the MCU. At first, it seemed like just another dimension, a place that existed outside the conventional laws of time and space. But as the MCU expanded, the quantum realm became an essential part of the story, with its potential for time travel, its strange properties, and its connection to the Infinity Stones. The quantum realm represents the unknown, a place where the boundaries of reality itself seem to fade away, and where the heroes of the MCU could make the impossible possible. The concept of the quantum realm was first introduced when Hank Pym, the original Ant-Man, reveals the existence of this subatomic dimension. In Ant-Man, Pym explains that the quantum realm is a place so small that it exists beyond the normal perception of time and space. It is a place where normal physics do not apply and where anything can happen. The quantum realm is not just a scientific curiosity, it's a space that exists on the very edge of reality, and its very nature makes it a powerful and dangerous tool for those who seek to harness it. The first major use of the quantum realm occurs when Scott Lang, the new Ant-Man, shrinks down to subatomic size in an attempt to stop Darren Cross. When Scott shrinks to the size of an atom, he finds himself in the quantum realm, a strange and visually stunning world where the laws of nature no longer apply. This journey into the quantum realm is more than just a visual spectacle. It's a metaphor for the unknown, a place where the rules of the universe are rewritten and where reality itself seems to bend. What makes the quantum realm so intriguing is its potential. In Ant-Man and the Wasp, 2018, the quantum realm plays a central role in the story. Hank Pym and his daughter, Hope Van Dyne, are on a mission to retrieve Janet Van Dyne, the original Wasp, from the quantum realm, where she has been trapped for decades. Janet, who was lost in the quantum realm during a mission, has been living there all this time, surviving through sheer force of will. Her rescue from the quantum realm introduces a new layer to the mythology of the MCU, showing that this dimension is not just a place of chaos and destruction, but also a place of survival where time and reality are experienced differently. Janet's rescue also introduces the idea that the quantum realm can affect the flow of time itself. This revelation becomes crucial in Avengers Endgame, where the quantum realm is used as the key to time travel. In the aftermath of the snap, where half of all life in the universe was erased by Thanos, the Avengers devise a plan to use the quantum realm to travel back in time and collect the Infinity Stones before Thanos can use them. The idea of using the quantum realm as a means of time travel is based on the theory that by navigating through its vast and unpredictable currents, one can move through time, effectively rewriting history. The time travel element of Endgame brings the quantum realm to the forefront of the MCU's narrative. With the help of Scott Lang, who is the only one with first-hand experience of the quantum realm, the Avengers plan a mission to collect the Infinity Stones from various points in time. This ambitious plan, which involves navigating the quantum realm and entering different timelines, is fraught with challenges. The stakes are incredibly high as the team realizes that their actions in the past can have irreversible consequences on the future. The quantum realm, as it turns out, is not just a physical place, it is a vessel for changing the course of history itself. One of the most pivotal moments in Endgame is when the Avengers realize the true cost of using the quantum realm to manipulate time. The very nature of the quantum realm is unpredictable, and the stakes of the mission become even higher when they realize that retrieving the stones could alter the timeline in ways they didn't foresee. The concept of time travel within the quantum realm forces the Avengers to confront their own mortality, their past mistakes, and the fragile nature of the universe. The journey through time is not just about defeating Thanos. It is a journey of self-discovery, redemption, and sacrifice. The success of the Avengers' mission to retrieve the stones sets the stage for the final battle against Thanos, in which the combined efforts of all the heroes of the MCU culminate in an epic confrontation. The use of the quantum realm combined with the sheer determination of the Avengers, is what ultimately allows them to reverse the snap and restore balance to the universe. The quantum realm's role in Endgame underscores its importance as a central element of the MCU, one that ties together the threads of time, space, and reality. However, the quantum realm's significance doesn't end with Endgame. The idea of alternate realities, timelines, and parallel universes, all stemming from the manipulation of time through the quantum realm, is explored further in future MCU stories. In Loki 2021, the concept of the multiverse is introduced, expanding on the idea that time itself can be altered and that different realities can coexist simultaneously. This exploration of the multiverse, combined with the quantum realm's unpredictable nature, opens up endless possibilities for future stories in the MCU, where time travel and alternate timelines become central to the unfolding narrative. The quantum realm is more than just a plot device, it is a symbol of the limitless potential of the MCU. It represents the unknown, a place where anything is possible and where the fabric of reality itself can be bent and reshaped. It is a space that holds the key to the past, the present, and the future, and its role in the MCU is far from over. As the universe expands, the quantum realm will undoubtedly continue to be a central element in the stories to come, offering new opportunities for time bending adventures, multiversal conflicts, and cosmic discoveries. Through its exploration of the quantum realm, the MCU has opened up a new frontier in storytelling, one where time and space are no longer fixed and where the boundaries of reality are constantly in flux. The quantum realm, with all its mysteries, serves as a reminder that the MCU is a universe of infinite possibilities, where the rules of time and space are ever changing and where anything can happen. The concept of the multiverse has always been a tantalizing idea in science fiction and comic books, but in the MCU, it has evolved into one of the most intriguing and expansive elements of the narrative. The multiverse, an infinite number of parallel realities and alternate dimensions, has the potential to reshape the entire MCU, creating a complex web of interconnected universes, each with its own versions of familiar characters, different timelines, and endless possibilities. While hints of the multiverse were dropped throughout the MCU, it wasn't until Avengers, Endgame, 2019, and Loki, 2021, that the full scale of the multiverse and its implications were explored in depth. At the core of the multiverse concept is the idea that every decision, every action, creates a branching timeline. What might seem like a small, insignificant choice in one reality could have massive consequences in another. This branching of timelines creates alternate versions of characters, worlds, and events. Some of these alternate realities are similar to our own, while others are completely foreign, with laws of nature and existence that differ drastically from our reality. The multiverse, in essence, is a collection of infinite possibilities where anything and everything can happen. The first true introduction to the multiverse in the MCU came with Avengers, Endgame, 2019, where the Avengers used time travel to gather the Infinity Stones from different points in history. This act of traveling through time inadvertently created alternate realities, each with a timeline where the events of the past unfolded differently. While the Avengers were able to correct the timeline and restore the original reality, the concept of alternate timelines was introduced as a potential threat to the stability of the universe. In Loki 2021, the multiverse became a central focus of the storyline. The series begins with the Loki variant from 2012, who escapes from the events of Avengers Endgame and is captured by the Time Variance Authority, TVA, an organization tasked with maintaining the stability of the multiverse. The TVA reveals that the multiverse consists of an infinite number of timelines, each with its own version of history. The TVA's role is to prune the timelines that deviate from the sacred timeline and prevent the multiverse from spiraling out of control. However, as the series progresses, it becomes clear that the TVA's control over the multiverse is not as absolute as it seems. The most significant revelation in Loki is the existence of the multiversal threat known as Kang the Conqueror, a version of the villainous Kang who has been manipulating the multiverse for his own gain. The introduction of Kang as a central antagonist opens up a new chapter in the MCU as it sets the stage for a multiversal war, one that could involve countless versions of familiar characters, new heroes and villains from alternate dimensions, and an ever expanding universe of possibilities. Kang, as a villain who can manipulate time and timelines, embodies the chaotic nature of the multiverse, where even the smallest change can have ripple effects across the multiverse. As the MCU moves forward, the multiverse becomes increasingly central to the larger narrative, particularly in Spider-Man: No Way Home in 2021. In this film, Peter Parker, struggling with the aftermath of his secret identity being exposed, seeks the help of Doctor Strange to erase the knowledge of his identity from everyone's minds. However, their spell goes awry, causing the multiverse to crack open and bring alternate versions of Spider-Man into Peter's reality. This brings back beloved characters like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's versions of Spider-Man, opening up a multiverse of possibilities for future storytelling. This crossover not only gives fans a nostalgic reunion of previous Spider-Men, but also lays the groundwork for future multiversal encounters within the MCU. The concept of the multiverse also allows for the return of previously dead characters, alternate versions of well-known heroes, and the possibility of exploring the vast range of what-if scenarios. In the animated series What If 2021, the MCU delves into these alternate realities, exploring questions like, what if Peggy Carter had taken the super soldier serum instead of Steve Rogers? What if T'Challa had become Star-Lord instead of Black Panther? These stories give fans a glimpse into the infinite versions of the MCU, where familiar characters take on new roles and the consequences of different choices are explored. One of the most exciting aspects of the multiverse is the sheer number of potential stories it opens up. With the introduction of the multiverse, the MCU is no longer bound by a single timeline or continuity. The events of one film or show do not necessarily have to adhere to the rules established in previous installments. This gives the filmmakers the freedom to explore new narratives, revisit old characters, and even experiment with different genres and tones. For example, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness 2022 explores the darker, more horror-infused elements of the MCU by taking Doctor Strange into alternate dimensions filled with terrifying creatures and dangerous versions of familiar characters. Similarly, Spider-Man: No Way Home shows how the multiverse can bring together characters from different cinematic eras, creating an unprecedented crossover event that appeals to both fans of the MCU and previous generations of Spider Man films. The concept of the multiverse also opens the door for new characters to emerge, particularly from alternate dimensions. In Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, we are introduced to alternate versions of familiar characters, such as a version of Doctor Strange who has succumbed to darkness, and characters from other realities who may play a pivotal role in the MCU's future. These variants provide endless opportunities for the MCU to introduce new heroes, anti heroes, and villains who could become central to the multiversal conflict that is likely to define the MCU's next phase. The multiverse also raises questions about the nature of reality itself. If there are infinite versions of every person and every event, what does it mean to have free will? What does it mean to make choices when so many other versions of oneself might be living out different lives? These philosophical questions will likely be explored as the MCU continues to delve deeper into the multiverse, providing a rich source of storytelling that goes beyond action and spectacle. The multiverse offers the potential to explore themes of identity, fate, and the nature of the universe, as well as the impact of choices on the fabric of reality. As the MCU embraces the multiverse, it is clear that this concept will shape the future of the franchise for years to come. The possibilities are endless: alternate realities, infinite heroes, and a universe of stories that stretch across dimensions. The multiverse is not just a plot device, it is a central theme that will define the next chapter of the MCU, bringing with it new challenges, new adventures, and an ever expanding universe that fans can explore and experience. Through the multiverse, the MCU has become a limitless playground for storytelling, where anything can happen and where the lines between realities are constantly shifting. The introduction of the multiverse sets the stage for an era of endless possibilities, where the rules of time, space, and reality itself are no longer fixed, and where the MCU can continue to evolve in ways that were previously unimaginable. As the multiverse continues to unfold, it promises to be one of the most exciting and expansive chapters in the MCU's rich history. Avengers Endgame 2019 marks the culmination of over a decade of storytelling in the MCU, bringing together beloved characters, unresolved plot lines, and the consequences of a universe altering event. The film follows the aftermath of Avengers Infinity War 2018, in which Thanos, wielding the power of the Infinity Stones, wiped out half of all life in the universe, leaving the remaining heroes to grapple with their failure. The stakes have never been higher, and the sense of loss is palpable. Endgame not only provides an epic resolution to the Avengers' fight against Thanos, but also ties together the individual character arcs that have developed over the years. At the beginning of Endgame, the surviving Avengers are reeling from the aftermath of the snap. The first act of the film focuses on their attempts to process their grief and find a way to undo the destruction caused by Thanos. The emotional weight of their failure hangs heavily over them, particularly on characters like Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, and Thor, each of whom is struggling with their own personal losses. Tony Stark, in particular, is haunted by the memory of his mentor figure, Peter Parker, whose disappearance during the snap weighs heavily on him. His guilt for not being able to prevent the snap is compounded by his desire to protect the future and his newfound role as a father to his daughter, Morgan. Steve Rogers, also known as Captain America, carries the weight of losing friends, allies, and the future of his country. His unwavering commitment to doing what is right is tested as he grapples with the notion of failure. Meanwhile, Thor's character undergoes a significant shift. His grief over the loss of his people, his family, and the failure to stop Thanos has led him into a period of deep depression, resulting in a physical and emotional transformation. The god of thunder, once a figure of strength and leadership, is now a broken man, using humor and avoidance as a coping mechanism to mask his pain. Yet it is this vulnerability that gives Thor a deeper sense of humanity, making his eventual redemption all the more powerful. The turning point in Endgame occurs when the Avengers, guided by a potential path to reversing the snap, devise a plan to travel back in time to retrieve the Infinity Stones from various points in history. The concept of time travel is central to the plot of Endgame, with each team of Avengers tasked with going to different points in the past to secure the stones. The journey through time becomes both a mission to fix the past and an emotional reflection on the characters' pasts. For characters like Captain America and Iron Man, the opportunity to revisit key moments from their own histories allows them to reconcile with past mistakes and heal old wounds. The time heist sequence, where the Avengers work together to retrieve the stones, brings together old and new characters in a way that is both nostalgic and fresh. The reunion of Steve Rogers and Peggy Carter, Tony Stark and his father Howard, and Thor and his mother Frigga provides moments of closure and emotional release. The Avengers' quest to gather the stones is not just about defeating Thanos. It is about redemption, healing, and understanding that the past cannot be erased, but it can be accepted and used to shape a better future. As the Avengers return from their time-traveling mission, the film builds toward its emotionally charged final act. When the stones are assembled and used to undo the snap, the film takes an unexpected turn. Thanos, having discovered the Avengers' plan, attacks the heroes in a devastating battle, leading to a massive confrontation. The stakes are higher than ever, as the Avengers fight not just for their lives, but for the lives of everyone who perished in the snap. The final battle in Endgame is one of the most visually stunning and emotionally charged sequences in the MCU. The Avengers face off against Thanos' army, and the scale of the battle is nothing short of epic. One of the most pivotal moments in the final act of Endgame is the arrival of Captain Marvel, whose immense power turns the tide of the battle. Carol Danvers, having been absent from most of the events leading up to Endgame, shows up at a crucial moment, providing the Avengers with the strength they need to push forward. Captain Marvel's inclusion in the film represents not just a reinforcement of the Avengers' might, but also a symbolic moment of hope for the future. Carol's strength is more than physical. It is the hope that no matter how dark things get, there is always a chance for redemption and victory. In the final moments of Endgame, the death of Tony Stark is one of the most emotionally powerful moments in the entire MCU. Tony's decision to wield the Infinity Stones, knowing the sacrifice it would require, is a culmination of his journey from a self-centered billionaire to a selfless hero. In Iron Man 2008, Tony Stark began as a man who cared only for himself, but over the course of his journey, he became a father figure to the Avengers, a mentor to Spider-Man, and a hero willing to give everything for the greater good. His death is not just the loss of a character, it is the end of an era for the MCU. Tony Stark's arc is one of the most complete and satisfying in cinematic history, and his sacrifice symbolizes the ultimate act of heroism. Steve Rogers' final moments in Endgame are equally poignant. After the battle is won and Thanos is defeated, Steve returns the Infinity Stones to their proper places in time. However, in a moment of peace, he decides to remain in the past and live out a life with Peggy Carter, the woman he loves. His decision to retire from the battlefield and live a life of happiness is a bittersweet conclusion to his arc. Steve's story has always been about duty, sacrifice, and doing what is right, and his final act of choosing love and peace over duty is a fitting end to his journey. He returns to the present as an older man, passing the mantle of Captain America to Sam Wilson, symbolizing the passing of the torch to a new generation of heroes. The final scenes of Endgame provide closure to the heroes' stories while opening the door for new adventures. The Avengers, after enduring immense loss and personal growth, have forged an unbreakable bond, and while some chapters come to an end, others begin. Endgame is not just about defeating Thanos, it is about the journey the Avengers have taken together, the lessons they have learned, and the legacy they leave behind. The film's closing moments, with Steve Rogers dancing with Peggy and the passing of the shield to Sam Wilson, represent hope for the future. The Avengers' legacy will continue even as the world moves forward. The multiverse, time travel, and the unknown possibilities of the future will lead to new adventures, but Endgame stands as the emotional conclusion to the Infinity Saga, a testament to the power of sacrifice, friendship, and the enduring spirit of heroism. As Avengers, Endgame 2019 marked the conclusion of the Infinity Saga. It also opened the doors to a new chapter in the MCU, one filled with endless possibilities. The deaths of key figures like Tony Stark and Black Widow, along with the retirement of Steve Rogers, marked the end of an era for the Avengers. But rather than diminishing the impact of the MCU, these changes created space for new heroes, new stories, and a fresh direction for the franchise to explore. The future of the MCU is not just about filling the void left by these characters. It is about evolving, expanding, and deepening the universe itself. With the introduction of the multiverse, as seen in Loki 2021 and Spider-Man No Way Home 2021, the MCU is no longer confined to a single reality. The multiverse concept offers unlimited opportunities for crossovers, alternate realities, and the return of characters from different timelines or universes. It allows the MCU to revisit past storylines, reintroduce fan-favorite characters, and explore alternate versions of heroes and villains. This expansion provides not only a sense of nostalgia, but also an exciting prospect for new adventures and interactions between characters who were previously not able to meet or interact. One of the most exciting aspects of the MCU's future lies in the new generation of heroes. Characters like Sam Wilson, who has taken on the mantle of Captain America, and Kate Bishop, who has become the new Hawkeye, represent the next wave of leadership within the Avengers. The passing of the torch from Tony Stark to Peter Parker, from Steve Rogers to Sam Wilson, is a theme that echoes throughout the MCU and signals the continuation of the Avengers' legacy, albeit with a new group of faces. The development of new characters is not limited to the original Avengers replacements. New heroes and teams have already begun to emerge, each with their own unique stories and powers. The introduction of characters such as Shang-Chi, who made his debut in Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, 2021, brings fresh cultural perspectives and new abilities to the table. Shang-Chi's story, grounded in martial arts and mystical artifacts, represents a departure from the more technology based or super-powered heroes of the past. His journey is one of self discovery and legacy, exploring themes of identity and heritage. Shang-Chi serves as an example of the MCU's increasing diversity, embracing different cultures and stories that were previously underrepresented in blockbuster films. Similarly, The Eternals, 2021, a group of immortal beings with powers that span millennia, bring a cosmic element to the MCU that expands its scope far beyond Earth. The Eternals are not only central to the future of the MCU, but also introduce new dynamics that tie into the larger cosmic conflicts. Their connection to the creation of the universe itself places them in a unique position to influence future events. Their powers and knowledge give them a deep understanding of the universe's workings, and their role in protecting humanity will likely come to the forefront in the coming phases. The arrival of the multiverse has also paved the way for the return of characters previously thought to be lost or irreversibly changed. With the possibility of alternate timelines and realities, the MCU can now bring back beloved characters from different franchises. This opens the door to reintroduce characters like Wolverine, Deadpool, and others from the X-Men universe, now that Disney's acquisition of 20th Century Fox has brought those characters under the MCU umbrella. The inclusion of Deadpool, who thrives on breaking the fourth wall and mixing irreverence with action, will add a fresh, unique tone to the MCU, distinguishing his films from the more serious or traditional superhero stories. Another pivotal element in the future of the MCU is the ongoing development of its villains. While Thanos was undoubtedly the central antagonist of the Infinity Saga, the MCU is now poised to introduce new, multifaceted villains who can carry the weight of the next few phases. Characters like Kang the Conqueror, introduced in Loki and set to be a central figure in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania 2023, bring a new level of complexity to the MCU's villains. Kang is not just a traditional bad guy, he is a being with vast knowledge of time travel and a deep understanding of the multiverse. His manipulation of time and space makes him an extremely dangerous figure, and his presence in the MCU promises to challenge the heroes in ways that Thanos never could. Beyond individual heroes and villains, the MCU is also exploring larger, cosmic conflicts that will shape the next phase of its storytelling. With the introduction of the multiverse and characters like the Eternals and Kang, the MCU is expanding its narrative reach beyond Earth and into the farthest reaches of space and time. This sets the stage for epic battles that will take place not just on Earth, but across different dimensions, timelines, and realities. The stakes are higher than ever before, as the Avengers and their allies face enemies who can manipulate reality itself, change the past, and destroy the fabric of existence. The future of the MCU also involves deepening the exploration of legacy and mentorship. As new heroes rise, they will face the weight of their predecessors' expectations. Sam Wilson, as Captain America, for instance, has big shoes to fill after Steve Rogers' retirement, and his journey will not only be about fighting new threats, but also understanding what it means to be a leader in the wake of such a legendary figure. Similarly, Peter Parker's relationship with Tony Stark will continue to influence his development as a hero. The mentorship dynamic, where older heroes pass on their wisdom to the younger generation, will be a central theme as the MCU evolves. The upcoming phase of the MCU also involves more grounded stories. While the multiverse and cosmic events will remain central to the overarching narrative, films and series like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier 2021 and Hawkeye 2021 bring the focus back to personal stories, exploring the human side of superheroes. These series delve into issues of identity, trauma, and legacy while still connecting to the larger MCU. These smaller, more intimate stories provide a necessary counterbalance to the larger, more action packed events and allow the MCU to explore a wider range of themes. The MCU's future also includes a more significant focus on its Disney Plus series, which have proven to be crucial in advancing character development and exploring stories that may not be suitable for feature films. The success of series like WandaVision 2021 and Loki 2021 demonstrates the potential for television to complement the films and expand on the cinematic universe in meaningful ways. The introduction of characters like Moon Knight and She Hulk promises to add new voices, new perspectives, and new genres to the MCU, ensuring that its future is as diverse as it is expansive. Finally, the future of the MCU involves the continued evolution of the superhero genre itself. What began as a collection of superhero films about individuals has grown into a complex web of interconnected stories, some deeply personal and others of cosmic scale. The MCU has redefined what a superhero movie can be, blending action, humor, drama, and even horror while introducing complex characters who undergo deep emotional arcs. As the MCU continues to expand, it will no longer just be a superhero saga. It will be a genre defining experience, constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible in cinematic storytelling. The MCU's future is one filled with infinite possibilities. As it continues to evolve, it will introduce new characters, explore new dimensions, and build upon the rich tapestry of stories that have already been told. Whether it's the introduction of mutants, the expansion of the multiverse, or the deepening of legacy and mentorship, the MCU's future promises to be just as thrilling, emotional, and unpredictable as its past. As we bring this journey through the Marvel Cinematic Universe to a close, we reflect on the incredible stories, unforgettable characters, and monumental moments that have defined this cinematic saga over the past decade. From the rise of heroes like Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor to the breathtakingly complex narratives of Black Panther, Spider Man, and Doctor Strange, the MCU has evolved into a rich, multifaceted tapestry that continues to captivate hearts around the world. Through its heroes, villains, and the ever expanding universe, we've witnessed not only thrilling action, but powerful themes of sacrifice, redemption, and the enduring power of hope. The MCU has taken us across the stars and into the deepest corners of the human experience. It's a universe where ordinary people rise to extraordinary heights, where the boundaries of space and time are stretched, and where even the darkest of villains can challenge the very fabric of existence. It's a world where courage, friendship, and love are tested by forces greater than any one person could imagine. Yet at its core, the MCU is a story about the heart of its heroes, the heart of its villains, and the heart of its fans. As we've seen, the MCU is more than just a collection of superhero stories. It's a shared universe of endless possibilities, where every decision, every sacrifice, and every triumph leaves an indelible mark on the world. The characters we've come to know and love are no longer just fictional creations. They are symbols of our own struggles, hopes, and dreams. They are reflections of the human spirit, constantly evolving, adapting, and growing in the face of adversity. Looking ahead, the future of the MCU is as exciting as it is unpredictable. With the multiverse now open, new realities are being born, and countless adventures await. We will meet new heroes, revisit old favorites, and explore worlds we've never even imagined. The stories that have shaped this universe will continue to evolve, expanding the narrative in ways that challenge our understanding of what a shared universe can truly be. But as we close this chapter of the MCU, let's not forget the impact it has had on our hearts and minds. It's a testament to the power of storytelling that such a vast universe has brought so many people together. Fans of all ages, from all walks of life, united by their love for these characters and the journeys they've taken. It's a world that has inspired us, made us laugh, made us cry, and reminded us that even in the darkest times, there is always hope, always a chance for redemption, and always the possibility of a new beginning. So, as we await the next chapter in this ever expanding universe, let us remember the lessons we've learned from the heroes and villains who've come before. That true strength lies not just in power, but in the choices we make. That family isn't just defined by blood, but by loyalty and love. And that no matter how far we travel, we are all connected by a shared journey, one that is greater than any individual path. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the MCU's past, present, and future. May your dreams be filled with the same wonder and excitement that this incredible universe has brought to life. May you always find strength in the face of adversity, and may the stories of the Avengers, the Guardians, and all the heroes of the MCU continue to inspire you as they have inspired so many before. Good night, dear friends. The universe is vast, and its stories are far from over. Rest well, for tomorrow we may embark on new adventures across realities, timelines, and beyond the stars.